Oh hey, didn't see you there. There are a few artists in history who can say they changed the landscape of culture of the entire world within their lifetime, and there are few who can say they changed it for the better. But on the rare occasions where one not only redefines the themes, presentation, and power of a medium, but does so in a way that connects the world with the art and the fellow audience, you're probably at least a little decent. There is no other word to associate Akira Toriyama with more than innovator. His roundabout methodology of telling stories of intrigue and characters of trope defining personalities reshaped the world's creative minds in a way only Toriyama's style could. From kids on the playground harnessing their chi to the thousands of hours spent slaying slimes, the grasp Toriyama had on his generation and younger, and probably older, is nothing to sneeze at. When it comes to the handle of Toriyama's influence, the sphere of pop culture is immeasurable. From fellow mangaka to showrunners of new generations to the local aspiring comic artist, he just managed to show and tell what it meant to be a storyteller and a presenter. And even in the most minuscule ways, he's affected me as someone who wants to take new ideas and liberties and inspire people too. And that's what we're talking about today. Now, it would be really easy for me to just hop on Wikipedia and give you a summary of whatever I could just regurgitate back to you and sprinkle in some jokes for a modicum of originality, but I don't think that's really all that fair under these circumstances. So, this episode's gonna be a little different. I actually don't have a script aside from this one piece of paper, and I'm just gonna talk to you about how incredible Akira Toriyama was, despite not actually having a lot to say about his actual work. All right, so to get this out of the way, I really don't have a script, and I'm just going off my thoughts right now. So first off, a little confession: I actually haven't seen all of Dragon Ball. Uh, I know that's I don't know how sacrilege that is, but yeah, it's true. I haven't seen all of Dragon Ball or any of the various series of it, like Z, Kai, and all that. So just just a heads up, if I like say something wrong about Dragon Ball, just let me know in the comments. Uh, because I don't want to do anything about disrespecting like Toriyama Sensei. But in essence, Dragon Ball, even when I haven't seen all of it, is amazing. Like you don't need to even be in the anime circle to know that. Like when Toriyama Sensei died, like you could feel the echoes of that death throughout the world. Like I know in Latin America, Dragon Ball is super huge, and of course I imagine it's huge in Japan, and it's pretty big in the United States too. Because in my last video on Funimation, uh, it was Dragon Ball that got Funimation its big start, and of course that the show itself just launched a lot of creative minds for just my and younger, probably older generations, because you see references to Dragon Ball and like so many other properties. Like the most prominent is like Gumball. Like if you've seen that one Gumball, The Amazing World of Gumball, if you that one Gumball episode where he's trying to go Super Saiyan, and then there's another episode where he actually does go Super Saiyan, and it's just like oh, it's just a one-off joke, and it's never addressed really, but it's really funny. But and I believe Cartoon Network actually tweeted that one screenshot of him um, right after Toriyama Sensei's you know passing, and of course it is terrible, but not the screenshot, but the passing. Um, but it's pretty clear that Toriyama Sensei and Dragon Ball had massive influence on pop culture. Like I know there's a humongous mural down in Latin America. I'll see if I can like put it on screen or something. And I also know that there was What was it? Oh, jeez, what was it? Of course, Dragon Ball launched a bunch of careers, like in the industry and outside of it. Like the biggest influence was probably Team Four Star and Dragon Ball Abridged, or Dragon Ball Z Abridged, if you will. Um, because if Dragon Ball was already big on like in the TV world, in the TV scape of playground arguments and all that, it was probably Team Four Star and other fan creators that got Dragon Ball like even more hyped up in the internet, early internet days, and that was incredible. Like now, personally, like I said, I don't have a lot of experience with Dragon Ball as a show, but there are a few instances where I still fondly remember Dragon Ball as a pretty pivotal part of my life. So the first story I want to tell is that when I was like way young, when like a wee child, we had a Game Boy game, and of course it was of Dragon Ball. I don't quite remember the name of it, and we don't even have the cartridge anymore. But it was a Game Boy Advance game, and I would try to play the heck out of it, but I just, Oliver, stop it. That's my dog. If you guys are hearing that, that's my dog. Anyway, that was where was I going with this? You're right. I tried to play it, but I couldn't because I was way too dumb. I was like super dumb. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea. The the furthest part I got in that game was being stuck at Kame house, at Master Roshi's house, and that was it. That was like there's nothing I could have done because I just couldn't follow. I just, like I wanted to get to the action. I couldn't follow all the dialogue, and so I just didn't really. I couldn't progress any more than that. I'll see if I can find any like online footage of that. And if I can, I I'm sorry, but it was really interesting. I know that doesn't sound too interesting. Like it's just a kid being an idiot, which kind of a daily story for kids. But when it came down to it, I really got obsessed with the game. Like I just couldn't figure out how to get out of Master Roshi's island, and it was frustrating, but it was also really interesting. Like I love the art style, like the pixelated art style, and it was just it's just like a profound impact on me that even when I don't have the cartridge and it's been like years, maybe a decade or so, even more decade, I guess, that like I still remember how pixelated and vibrant the colors were. Like I know, like it's just so unreliable for me to say all that, despite me not actually having played much of the game. But it was just like I just can't get that memory out of my head. But in terms of like other memories, there was one other thing when I was a kid. I've gone on record saying that we didn't have cable television, so I didn't get exposed to like like Cartoon Network or the Toonami stuff. But we did have like the free stuff, the freeform stuff. So like what we had was Toonzai or I it was like it has several other names, but the one I remember was mostly Toonzai. It was on the CW network, which you don't have to have cable for it. And one of the shows was Dragon Ball Z Kai, and I would wake up way early in the Saturday mornings when I usually wouldn't. I hate waking up early, but I would wake up early for Saturday mornings so I could watch Dragon Ball Z Kai. And let me tell you, I had no idea what was going on. I just had no clue of what happened because I think it was in the middle of the Vegeta saga, and then sometimes it would again, I wasn't super keen on waking up early, so sometimes I missed episodes, and sometimes it would be on the Frieza saga or maybe the Cell saga. But anyway, the like I would just wake up, and sometimes I would just wake up my brother, who probably hated me for it, because I just wanted to watch um, Dragon Ball Z Kai, and I know it's not exactly the most loved um, series in all of Dragon Ball, but I really have fond memories about just waking up and watching Goku and Vegeta and just duking it out, and it was so fun for me, and and again, this was when I was super young, so it was at that time when I was just starting to get into anime. You had other shows like Dinosaur King and Yu-Gi-Oh! Zex. Oh God, no, excuse me, Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, and it was just you just couldn't get away from it. But it was it was amazing, and those are the two main things from my childhood that I really remember about Dragon Ball and the series. But of course, there are other things. My sister got me a few Dragon Ball DVDs for Christmas. Like she knew even less about anime than I did at that point. But I still have them, and I mean they're still in my possession, and I don't know where I'm going with this story. But yeah, I guess even when my sister, who knew nothing about it, I think she's a pretty fairly good anime fan now. But at that point when she had no idea what anime was, even she knew what Dragon Ball was to an extent, and that's just really funny to me. Yeah. It just connects all of us in some way. Um, and then following following Toriyama Sensei's death, it really got me back into Dragon Ball Fighters, which I am not good at. I was never good at it, but I do want to say that I have gotten better with it because it's a really fun game, and I just it just it really encapsulates what Dragon Ball is. Just a lot of fights and just high action fighting, fast fighting, and it's just ridiculous setups, and I don't know what else to say. And it's just really fun, and I recommend it if you're a big fighting game fan, um, or a Dragon Ball fan. Am I any good at it now? I don't know. You tell me. And then there were the other video games that Toriyama worked on, like Dragon Quest and my God, Chrono Trigger. Those are two big names. I played Dragon Quest 11. Yeah, I played Dragon Quest. I thought it was fine. I know, super great opinion there. But I mean, it really is fine. But I could see why a lot of people just hold it to this high regard of being such a great game series. I didn't play much of it, but I did play it, and it is intriguing. It has a great world and great world building, good characters, and all that. And then you have Chrono Trigger, which my God, I feel like they should just do more with Chrono Trigger. Like it's amazing how that one little game from the '90s is still around. I know you could say that about a lot of other games from the 90s, but Chrono Trigger is just amazing. That is a JRPG that survived the 90s here in America and the West, and you honestly don't hear a lot about that. Like even one of the biggest JRPGs, Fire Emblem, like those 90s games just don't have that same staying power here in the West, and like they probably do in Japan, but not here in the West. Like they released um, Mystery of the Shadow Dragon. No, what am I saying? Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon from the NES days for its 25th anniversary on the Switch Online, and like I'm not even sure if it still got like if it was successful or anything, but compare that to Chrono Trigger. Like people remember Chrono Trigger. Not a lot of people remember like Shadow Dragon, or aside from Fire Emblem fans and um, I guess technically Smash fans, which is also amazing because that had Hero added to it. Which again, I'm not really good at Hero, but he is one of the most he is one he is one of the most fun characters out of that game, and he's just like you see a lot of wacky stuff with it. But I'm sorry, I'm going off topic about this, but he's one of the more fun characters. Period. In Smash, I'm just saying. Um, and then you also had. I guess that's all I had to say about the Toriyama games, but because I didn't really play much of them. But like he just had a profound effect on not just anime but video games, and like that's like what like that's both amazing. Like I can't like right off the top of my head, I can't really think of many people who can really claim that stake. Like I know. I mean, okay, so technically Steven Spielberg is best known as movie director, but he's also TV producer, and he did produce a few video games, but he's mostly movie direction, and that's how people will remember him. For Akira Toriyama, they'll remember him not just for manga and anime, but for video games and just overall an effect on pop culture. That's how big of a name Akira Toriyama was, and that's just incredible. Um, but I don't want to just stay stuck on the topic of like Dragon Ball and I guess video games, because he did do a lot more than that. Um, so I guess let's talk about Arale-chan. So I guess a little funny tidbit. For the longest time until recently, I always pronounced Arale-chan as Ariel-chan. Like what? Like Ral-chan. Like that doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't. It's not even spelled that way. But anyway, that's how I always pictured that word for some reason in my head. But it is a Raleigh-chan. It is a Raleigh-chan. Yeah, I have to keep reminding me of that because I'm just that dumb. But yeah, I've seen a few episodes of the original Doctor Slump. I think they're good. I mean, I think the best point about Arali Chan is Arali Chan herself, and she's just a really fun character, and you could see like the amount of optimism and enthusiasm that comes with the strength of Arali Chan, and then you can also see that in Goku, and it's just like you could see how well Toriyama adapts these styles of characters of these young optimistic. Someone confused doing something weird. These young, optimistic, and strong heroes, but it's still kind of like dense and lovable. Like they're not malicious; they're just naive in a way, but they can still like destroy you in a way. Um, but it, I think that's where a really good idea of where that template comes from from Toriyama's Arale and Goku. Like you have like protagonists nowadays that exhibit similar kind of optimism in that way. Like Luffy's like the most obvious, which Ichiro Oda Sensei has gone on record saying that without Dragon Ball there would be no One Piece. And then of course you also have Naruto, which I believe Kishimoto also said that uh, Dragon Ball was a major influence on him. It'd be no wait. If I remember, it was Arale-chan. Like Kishimoto would draw Arale-chan to like really get into the medium of drawing. I might have to look that up, but I think it's true. And then it was also, of course, Dragon Ball. And then even here in the West, you have like the optimistic, yet naive protagonist. Like probably Aang from Avatar would be most prominent in that regard. Of course, he is smart too, but he's also he does have bits of him and naive. But the point is that you can see like from Oda's not Oda, God damn it, Toriyama's characters that they have a profound effect on like how it just generates a style of character. Like the naive protagonist, the bitter rival like with Vegeta and Piccolo, who are also like comparable to the protagonist, and then so on and so forth. And that's just amazing that he like Toriyama could just make entire characters and their default would just be a whole template for the entire world to take snapshots of. And that's just like like that's just amazing. Like that's how this like I don't know how else to put it. Like how what they say about copycats or ripoffs, I guess. But not that I'm saying that they're ripoffs, but that's I don't know once. Yeah. And so even now, you can still feel Toriyama's influence on like culture and just the overall zeitgeist of anime and just general storytelling. Like I, 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 I don't really know how to put into words and describe how pivotal Toriyama was to the landscape of the entire pop cultural world. Because, like I said, I don't really have much experience with his work. Uh, Even though, like, a dummy like me can just tell you that it is big. But like, I from what I have seen of Dragon Ball, which is the original series, and Dragon Ball Z, Kai, and like little bits of Super, is all amazing. Like, there are a lot of frustrating parts about it, but that goes with any medium and any show or manga or story. Um, with Arale-chan. Sorry, I had to make sure I was saying that word right. With Arale-chan, like there are things that I find a little silly, but it's that silliness that profound Toriyama style that you can't really help but admire how fun and unique it was. And with Toriyama's games, like again, I haven't played much of them, but even then, like you can just see the impact it had on the entire gaming world, and it's mind blowing. And even now, with after Toriyama's passing, there was still a profound storyteller. Sorry, storyteller within him because right now I'm watching Sandland the series and it's really good. Like it's like there's the animation's really great for 3D animation, and most importantly, the story is just so it's really fun. Like it's like I'm not a big fan of desert stories. Like I find the desert to be particularly boring. But Sandland is just it encompasses that one ideal that the journey, the hero's journey, if you will, like a literal hero's journey, that where they're trying to prove that demons and humans can get along while also fighting against a bigger bad, which I really don't know how else to describe it without really having to think about it. But like if you haven't seen Sandland, it's like running is still running as of the recording of this video. Um I would recommend you check it out. I like it's on Disney Plus or Netflix, I guess. No, Disney Plus. Anyway, it, if you could like check it out, I really do think it's good. Like I think it's a really fascinating story. Um, it's just about a couple of demons trying to look for water so they can save the planet from a drought and the general hierarchy of the jerk faces up in power. It's really fun, and it just has great humor to it. It has a really good idea behind it, and it's just an overall good thought provoking. Like it's just really thought provoking. I'm sorry, I just don't know how. I really don't know how to process that. Um, um, because it is tragic that uh, Toriyama couldn't quite see the end result. Like I'm not fully 100% on that. Maybe he saw like the first few episodes when they were still like maybe in their final draft or something, but maybe he didn't. Maybe he did. I don't know. But that really does just uh, it really just points out how depressing and as well as how optimistic the future can hold for us. Because even at 68 and probably failing health, Toriyama Sensei still worked his butt off to to prevent ah, to present one last great thing, and I do think Sandline will become a great thing, even if it's kind of under the radar right now. Um, and I think that's really what we all have to like really take in. That Toriyama did have his ups and downs, but he took those in stride, and he just had no other way of expressing himself aside from just being himself, and in the style of kooky comedy, but also heartfelt like fighting and just like little tidbits of stories of intrigue and just profound optimism within like cycles of nihilism and cynicism. And I like he will be missed, and I I really wish he has the best time wherever he is right now. And yeah, so I guess thank you, Toriyama Sensei, for everything. So yeah, that's about the extent of my tribute. Like he really did have a profound effect on me, even when I didn't really think about it until it was too late. Which is unfortunate, but we must press on like Goku or Arale or Beelzebub, and you know We will. Now, if you'll excuse me, I actually don't have a joke right now. I'm new to this improv stuff. Um, well, I can't really. I'll just wait until the cutoff. Cut off now, please. This is way too awkward for me. I said cut off!